Hi, folks. Today I thought I would try and talk a little bit about dealing with injury because as I'm recording this, it is the spring of 2019 because stuff on the internet is here forever. So who knows when somebody might watch this, but it's the spring of 2019. I have been out of running for about 2.5 months. Prior to this, the longest I was ever out has been 2 weeks, and that's over 30 years. So this is dramatically different. And my friend Susie over at I Run Things, I'll put a link to her channel in the notes below so you can go check out her channel, was saying, boy, you should do a video about how you've been dealing with the injury because you're doing so well with it. You're so positive. And I've had other people tell me how positive I've been about it as well. And in fact, I had thought about doing a video, but here's the reality. I'm not really quite sure what I'm doing to be positive about the whole bloody thing because I will tell you. So first, a little background. What happened is that I was on my road bike. I was coming to a stop. I didn't get my left foot unclipped. I didn't want to unclip my left foot. I was just going to lean over to the right. Somehow I got over to the left, and in 5 seconds I fell. It was 4 weeks away from the Boston Marathon. Training was going great. I had just had a great race at the River Run a couple days earlier, so I'm on top of the world and fit. And just like that, my fortunes changed. And when I was laying in the hospital in pain, what's going on, what else besides dislocation, etc., even the nurse was saying, gosh, you're really taking this fairly well. I said, yeah, feel sorry for my wife because in a couple of days, this is going to go away and I'm going into this dark black space and things are going to be awful. And I can't say that I've never had any dark days in the last 2.5 months because I have. But for the most part, I've actually been kind of relatively upbeat about the thing, which really exceeds my expectations. So what I try and do is talk about what I think some of the factors are with this. But as I said, it's not like there's this conscious thing, do this, do this, do this, do this, and you can deal with injury more effectively. But somehow I've done some things and maybe I've done that. So part of it, I think what it comes down to is the first thing that happened is as I was probably laying in the parking lot or I got up on a curb. Somebody came by and helped me get up on the curb so I could sit there and just hang on to my arm because it hurt so bad for quite a while. At that point in time, of course, I'm thinking about Boston because Boston's in 4 weeks. It's like, am I going to be able to run before I get to Boston? I figure I got at least a week or two that I probably can't run with this, but I really don't have any idea. But of course, I still want to get to Boston. And I had other races coming after that I wanted to get to, but I made myself a little bit of a promise then that I was going to play the long game. In other words, as much as I want to get to Boston, as much as I want to do this biking event that was coming after that, as much as I want to do this half marathon coming up in June and on and on and on, I am going to play the long game on this. And the long game is just kind of a euphemism saying it's not about what's coming up right away. What I want to make sure is that whether it's the end of this year, a year from now, whenever that is, that this is gone, it's history, it's in my rearview mirror, and I don't want to do anything that is going to detract from playing the long game and getting this taken care of. So no short-term, maybe silly decisions about what to do. I got to be in this for the long haul because time will pass. No matter what, time is going to pass, and I want to pass in such a way that this is gone in its history. So that was one thing. And then after that, I always talked about what can I do right now? So WCIDRN, it was kind of a crazy acronym, but what can I do right now? And I was able to fairly effectively not worry about things that I couldn't do or that had already happened or things that were going to happen off in the future because I can't do those right now. So let's talk about the accident. As I said, this was 100% my fault. I was stupid. I should have unclipped both feet. I should have had my weight a little bit over to my right. I mean, there are so many little things that could have prevented this from ever happening. It's not like it was a freak accident where a drunk driver came out and hit me. This was on me. And it would be really easy for me to sit there and dwell on the fact that, oh, this is my fault. I should have done this and blah, blah. And yeah, those thoughts cross my mind. But for the most part, I don't worry about it because I can't do anything about that. It's done. It was stupid. I wish it didn't happen, but I can't do anything about that right now. So my focus on what can I do right now. The same thing is, well, my race in X months. Well, can I still do this race? Do I think about that a little bit? Yeah. Do I dwell on it? No, because there's not one bloody thing I can do about whether or not I'm going to be able to race or race well at an event in a week from now, let alone in 6 months from now. Really what I always have to keep asking myself is, well, what can I do right now? Because I'm doing the long game and I got to get this in my rearview mirror. So what can I do right now was just really important. And I think that helped me with a little bit of a mental shift on things because I really, truly don't worry too much into the future because there's so many questions that I don't know the answer. At this point in time, normally we'd have traveled back to Minnesota for the summer. Still hope that'll happen at some time. I don't know when because there's just too many unanswered questions about what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. So some things that I did do during this is there's always what I call a line. So as I'm working with the various doctors and working with the physical therapists, it's always been, well, what can I do? And I guess I'd say they give me a line saying, well, you can do this, but don't do more than that. Then my job was to make sure I am at that line. I'm not going to do more, but by gosh, I'm not going to do less. So for example, one of the things the doctor told me after the surgery was done, because I eventually ended up with surgery for this, is she said, you can go ahead and walk. You can walk as much as you want, but I don't want you to do any brisk walking, because brisk walking is going to start moving those shoulders. And I don't want your shoulder to move, but just going out for a walk, you can do that. So I went out and walked. I was walking 20 to 25 miles a week at some point in time, slowly, not very fast, because that's where that line was with what I could do. Other things I do, I worked on sleep and hydration. Sleep was tough. If you've never had a dislocated shoulder, then with shoulder surgery, it is hard to sleep. I rarely will get more than 1.5, 2 hours straight before I wake up because it's uncomfortable. But I would still try and get as much sleep as I could, even if it's not contiguous, because I know that sleep's really important for recovery. So I guess that's almost kind of the line. Get as much sleep as you can. I don't like naps, but if I felt like I needed a nap, I took the nap because I know sleep helps with recovery. Hydration is important in everything. So I figure, you know what? If I stay hydrated, then all my muscles, everything's going to move better. That's probably going to help me with my recovery as well. So every day I made sure that I was really staying well hydrated. And I had other things that I could do. So thinking back that line, then I did those things. There was core work I could do. Now, I've lost a tremendous amount of strength. I don't know if you can tell from these pictures, probably not. My left arm is like half the size of my right arm. Strength is gone. I can't really do strength with my right arm either because then you're out of balance. But there was core work I could do, and I would do that 5 days a week. They told me I could walk. I mentioned that before. I was walking 20, 25 miles a week. She said, you can do the exercise bike, but you got to keep the immobilizer on because I don't want your shoulder moving. So keep it pinned up. And I tell you, that thing would get sweaty, and it's difficult to do. But I got out for maybe, 45 minutes is about all I could take mentally. Got on that exercise bike, and I've got my PT homework. As I'm recording this, I've just finally started PT, and he knows too because I've told him I'm going against the line. So he said, here's what you can do. I want 2 by 10 of this particular thing 3 times a day. And he knows I'm doing 2 by 10 3 times a day, but I'm not going to do 2 by 11. I'm not going to do 4 times a day. I'm not going to do more than he wants. But by gosh, if this is what you want, I can do that. So it's, what can I do right now? So what can you do if you get, hopefully you never get injured. But injury, I guess, is kind of a part of things. But maybe the 2 things you can be thinking about when you get injured is what is your long game? It's really not about what your next event was. How do you get this in your rearview mirror? Where do you want to be a year from now? And then keep your focus on not what's happened in the past, not what's going to happen in the future, but what can you do right now? And hopefully that answer is recover faster than planned.